So 4 months has passed. 4 months have passed since you won Chopin competition. We'll meet in Warsaw again. Tired with Chopin?
No, I think not yet.
What happened in your artistic life during these 4 months? What happened with Chopin in your imagination, in your interpretation?
I think my approach changed all the time. With different halls, different pianos, and different orchestras, and different conductors, different people, audience. Of course, pianos is a big factor. As I played Steinway yesterday, and it sounds totally different from the competition, which is the same pieces I played, but everything was different. And also my outfit is different. My feeling is different, the emotion especially. And so this all thing came in factors of great with Chopin, because Chopin is all about improvisation, and it's one of the very few composers that can be very convincing in a way, but at the same time with so many different ideas, which is very special, because not every composer is like that.
You mentioned a lot of factors, among them pianos. What is the main difference between Fazioli piano you used during the Chopin competition and the Steinway you played yesterday? For you, as a pianist, as an artist, how different is the medium?
Yeah, it's very hard to explain. It's it's like I would say, a simple example for me is like sleeping on a with different kind of bed or different kind of pillow in the hotel. It's like the Steinway is. I think it's usually for me, Steinway are very standard. In all Steinways are very equal, so you can make sure there's very. You're assured basically by the quality. The Fazioli is like the competition one is very special. It's like a race driving car. It's like very hard to control, very light. The touch is extremely dedicated. So it definitely felt for me like a salon instrument, which is quite unusual. I think so. In a competition for me, it's important to show your personality and to not be. Because 80 competitors, it's easy to get robbed in a very conventional thing.
Does Fazioli gives you better control over the sound, over the color, different registers, if we could use this word concerning the piano?
It's piano is important, but I don't know it's Horowitz or what, but there's not bad piano, but only bad pianist. So as you said about controlling register, it's all about adapting quickly, and it's the pianist's job to do that. So basically, all these pianos for me are top quality, and it's important for me to adapt, to change, every time a little bit with my game, and to make out certain things out of it, rather than saying which piano is like this and this,
You say you are optimistic, and mostly your program, your competition program, but also this program you play in Warsaw on the birthday concerts, is full of optimism, with exception of Chopin Sonata.
No, the Ballad 2 also is a very dramatic piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's optimistic is my nature, but music, it's a very complex thing, and Chopin has extremely complicated emotions, and mostly people say it's more about patriotic and nostalgic feeling. I'm just saying that optimistic is my personality, but about music, it's always the balance, between your own and being faithful to the composer and which piece exactly. And even we talk about the sonata, of course, it's something about very dramatic, funeral march and everything. But even Chopin himself, about one piece, every day is like a different interpretation and a different feeling about it. When his student brings some piece that he just taught yesterday, the way he taught and he played it, and Chopin was saying, "Who told you that?" And the student was like, "You just said that yesterday," and Chopin was like, "No." So he already changed his approach, and the same, it's so that's the art of his playing, I guess.
So, how do you think? How important is the biography of the composer, his life, in understanding of his music and performing his music? Are you familiar with Chopin biography?
I'm not sure. Comparing, it's dangerous to say that in Poland. Right? It's like talking about mazurkas here.
Let's talk about this sonata, this ballades, maybe about Rondo alla Mazur, which is connected with this very special moment in Chopin's life, his Warsaw time, very happy time in his life. And listening to your performance, to your interpretation, I see this young Chopin walking through the street of Warsaw, maybe whistling, maybe thinking about girlfriends in this city. But maybe it's a very subjective way of understanding what you wanted to express.
Yeah, I think this is the area of time that really matches, because it's like I think he moved to Paris probably when he was around 20 or something like that, and then well, you know, I'm 24, but I feel still close to the period that he moved before, you know, which is from all the happiness and the joy time in Poland. So that's why, you know, I choose a lot of early work, you know, like the rondo and the competition as well as the variations, you know, and I also plan to play more of these early pieces because I think these pieces are a bit neglected.
That's true.
Yeah, and it's I mean, it's all the party time, you know, especially it's not really good to say that now, but I mean, if we talk about music, it's really the moment that he was having nothing to fear about and nothing to, everything was so comfortable in his life. You know?
So on one side we have this young Chopin with his Warsaw time, and on the other side these Paris pieces with sonata, with ballades, also with the nocturne, which you put on the very beginning of your recital. How is it easy or difficult for you to move between these moods?
I think it was natural because that's the way I build up the program, you know, and I think there's a relationship between which is important for me. For example, a rondo changing to ballade F major is a very natural transition for me. They're the same key, but there's totally two different moods. And then the ballade 2 to ballade 3, of course, it's like a connection. It's like right next to each other. It's like playing like a set, you know. So, I mean, characterally also, you know, I don't want to stay in the drama too long. So I always, after a dramatic piece, I always try to put a little sweeter taste to it. And then when people get too sweeted in their throat, and then I will change back to a bit of shocking statement, you know. And I always prefer to end with something brilliant than something dramatic. That's my own preference, because at the end, I think music is there to bring joy and not to you know, suffer people.
Today we meet in the Chopin Museum. There are a lot of pianos on which also Chopin played. His upright piano is here. What do you feel seeing his instrument? Is it kind of magic for you, or it's a historical object which doesn't influence your thinking about maybe sound, music, about some magic of the instrument?
It does bring some magic, because when you think about it, it's the way, you know. For example, I think about pedaling, even though I haven't touched any historical instrument yet, but very soon, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a little hint. But I think it will be very different, you know, to the approach. And sometimes I play yesterday was already different from the competition, you know, like I have some new approach about pedaling. And and I believe the keys are very light as well.
Do you feel it could influence also your performing on modern piano?
In some way, I think a little bit, but there's a certain limit. You know, it's still a Steinway, and you should sound it like a Steinway rather than a fortepiano. And you know, it's just as I said, adapting to the hall as well. The acoustic changes all the time.
Asking you about Chopin, are you tired with Chopin? I also wanted to ask about your ideas of expanding your repertoire, or maybe expectations that are addressed to you. What will you prepare in the future, closest future? Which composers?
Right now, I'm deeply into French music, and it's still kind of related with Chopin. So I think it's a great transition, to get out a bit of Chopin, but at the same time stay in the same direction.
And what about Baroque music? You said something.
I said French, so
French.
it includes Baroque
Okay.
music.
And Bach?
Baroque music, Bach for me is overplayed, so even though, of course, it's great music, but, I try to play something that I want to make people discover more, like Rameau, Couperin, that's all Baroque. French Baroque is amazing, and when we talk about Baroque, it's funny, people always just talk about Bach or Scarlatti, but, there's so many of them. Same with Chopin, there's extremely treasure pieces, as I'm surprised, because before me, I think I never heard the variation here in the competition, so...
Those two.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, you are the only one.
Yeah, so this is, I think it's something that has to be done.
Would you like to play these variations with orchestra?
I think so. It's a great project, I think. It will be a great project.
And the other end of French music, I mean Debussy, Ravel, maybe Fauré.
Yes, Ravel is always in my repertoire, and it always depends how you put them together, I think.
In a very certain point in your career, very soon after the winning Chopin competition, could you tell a few words about the very beginning? How did you start acquainting with piano, your first teacher, your way to your professors, Richard Raymond and Dank Tyson?
Yeah, I mean, first teacher was on a newspaper that my dad found, okay? So it was very random, and it was on an electric keyboard. It was around 8 years old, and maybe seriously on the piano, maybe I would say around 12. And
quite late.
Very late, and seriously about piano, maybe not even now, because I still say it's like a hobby for me. Of course, a little bit joke, but all that just to say that I always wanted to keep this, very passion for music, rather than a routine, as I said already. I think it's important, and Richard, he was my first serious teacher, who gave me all the knowledge, about technique and solid bass, and also building conception. And Dank Tyson, of course, it's very funny fact is that, of course, he's a Chopin winner 40 years ago, but until 2 years before the competition, I never actually played for him any Chopin, but we worked on every other program.
You mean?
Everything you can imagine but Chopin.
Beethoven, Bach?
Yeah, Mozart, Haydn, Rameau Liszt, everything. And so just to say, it's important to also build a very large base, and then you build this pyramid on something that you like. So you already have this knowledge, and also have this connections.
Are you still going to work with Dank Tyson or Professor Raymond?
I wish I can, but I haven't had any lessons since the competition, which is something that I worry a bit, because I think it's very important, And of course, I have chance now to also play for other musicians as well, So I think the approach will change a bit, It's not like a student anymore with regular lesson every week, but more just like inspiration type, I would say.
Do you have many proposals for concerts, for recitals from all over the world?
Yeah, I have no invitation at all because my program is already planned until 2023.
So what will you play during the Chopin Festival in Warsaw this summer? Chopin and his Europe.
I'm not so sure, but I don't know if the program is published.
No, it's not, but we wondering.
We should wait for the surprise. Yes. But you will like it. I'm sure you will like it.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
But it will not be Chopin alone.
Of course, yeah. There will be Chopin, but in a great mixture.
Solo recital or concert with orchestra? What is planned?
I think both.
Fantastic. Great news. Tell me, please, what about other hobbies? You said the piano is a hobby. So what about other hobbies in your life?
I like sports, I like tennis, I like swimming, karting, of course, and I like chess as well, reading, movies, everything. Now traveling, maybe it's a hobby. I don't think traveling is a hobby now. No, it's more like suffering.
Don't you like traveling?
Yeah, I used to be, but when you're traveling,
concert pianist.
Yeah, like every day.
Every day, different place, different hotel.
Yeah.
It's not a pleasure for you.
Yeah, not really. But it's part of the thing.
During the Chopin competition, you made a parallel between karting and playing piano, which was quite interesting. Many people remember it. Do you feel something similar between playing chess and playing piano?
I think there's a relation, between all of these hobbies. It's a way to relax and to change your mindset. And I mean, you cannot always be in music 24/24. I'm not this kind of person. So for me, the inspiration is important always.
I think we should finish with this inspiration, because I also would like to talk a while about inspiration that comes to you in the last moment. You said that coming to the stage, you're able to change your view, your mind, your interpretation in a way during the way to the stage. Does it happen often, or rather?
Always.
Always.
Always. It's every single one is different.
So you don't have your ideal shape of the piece in your imagination.
I do have. I said this is not saying that I do random stuff on stage. Of course, now that would be disaster. So I have a clear structure of what I want to do, and I think 90%, 95% is there. And I'm talking only about this 5% of improvisation. So things doesn't get like a real illogic thing.
We are going from Warsaw
to Berlin.
To Berlin.
Yeah.
And then we will play.
And then to Vienna, and then to London.
Also with Chopin.
Yeah, most of them. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to us.
Thank you.